We're doing it live. We're doing it live. Okay, so the news this morning is that the Jewish Mafia Republicans are having a major meltdown over the Tucker Carlson Nick Fuentes interview, to the point where they're literally calling for Tucker to be killed. The Jewish Mafia that runs the Republican Party, the Jewish Republican Coalition, is literally calling for Tucker Carlson to be killed, like they're posting that on Twitter. And so basically, in some ways, this is good news because they're exposing themselves. And it's better to have an open conflict. You want your enemy to be stating their intentions. This is why I never believed in this whole policing free speech stuff, because they would say, well, you can't just go around saying these things, right? Well, actually, you want to hear what your enemy says, because then you can, it's all out in the open, right? Nothing's being hidden. And so it's actually safer to hear your enemy's thoughts being articulated than it is to suppress speech. But so the Jewish Republicans had a meeting or whatever, and Josh Hammer, who's one of them, came out and literally called for Tucker Carlson to be killed. He's calling for Tucker Carlson to be killed. So they want to kill Tucker Carlson for having a conversation with Nick Fuentes. So this is something that I've been saying the whole time, which is that these people are very dangerous, and they are killers. They are murderers. They are genocidal maniacs. Mark Levin, that fine guy over in, what you would call it, that guy over in Florida that wants anti-Semitism laws, like Alan Dershowitz, the Epstein Group, the Zionist Organizations of America. These people are killers. They are mass murderers. Everything that they're doing, when you see, the thing is, when I said that it's wrong to exterminate the Palestinians, it's not because I like Islam or anything, or that I agree with any of that stuff. It's that they'll do the same thing to you that they're doing to them. And you're like, but I'm an American. They don't care. They don't care if you're an American. They will kill you. They will kill you. They don't care. They don't care what you are. They will kill you. And so it's crazy. But so Ben Shapiro is like literally melting down, where all he talks about, right? Like, I guess for like the last 24, 48 hours, Ben Shapiro has talked about nothing but Tucker Carlson, like tweeting, like speed tweeting Tucker Carlson. It's crazy. I wonder if I can find any of the stuff that he's been saying. He's just been going nonstop about Tucker Carlson. Yeah, let me see if I can find a Ben Shapiro. Let's find some Ben Shapiro. I was just listening to him recently here, going on about Tucker. Oh, here he is. Shoot, there it is. I got to go back to that one. Here he is. Listen to this.
No to the Groypers. No to their publicists like Tucker Carlson. No to those who champion them. No to demoralization. No to bigotry and anti-meritocratic horse shit. No to anti-Americanism. No. This is our country. This is our party.
Who's the our? Now, notice how I've been saying, if you're watching my videos, which I began making YouTube videos the first week of the lockdowns in March. It was March 2020, the first week of the lockdowns in March 2020. And I told you that the people that run Washington, D.C. like to use this term our. We're all in this together, that type of thing, right? It's ours. But what they really mean is it's theirs and that you have to submit. So notice how Ben Shapiro is trying to say this whole MAGA movement thing, this is our conservative movement. First of all, I never said I was a conservative. I said I like to think of myself as a radical for my own race, not yours, Ben Shapiro. But let's listen to a little more of Ben Shapiro here.
And this is our conservative movement. And I will not stand by while it is handed over to those who betray the most fundamental principles I have spent my entire life defending and advocating.
Okay, good. Now, here's what I want to tell you. The way to win as an outside party, like we have no political power, right? The group I'm associated with, we have no political power. But the way to win is to drive those in political power, the leadership, your enemy, the leadership that's ruling over you and dominating you. The way to defeat them without any political power is to drive them into apathy, to be so contrary and to be so uncooperative that none of their plans can materialize. And so what I'm telling you is, as part of the group that's out of power, right? We don't hold any political power. Those of us in my sector of political thinking, we don't have any political power. But what we can do is we can critique the political power. We can not cooperate with the political power, and we can be so contrary and so insistent that eventually they fall into apathy. And right now, what you see them melting down. This is the big meltdown where all they do is wail and cry and call for bloody murder. Right now, they're just calling for bloody murder. Josh Hammer and Nick Fuentes covered this on his show a day or so ago. That Josh Hammer has called for Tucker Carlson to be neutralized. Neutralized. That means killed. Okay. I mean, that's a euphemism for killing people. If you're calling for people to be neutralized, you're calling for them to be killed, to be assassinated. And so what I'm saying is, this is entirely good for my political faction, because what it says is that it's all out in the open now. It's that Josh Hammer's hatred for Americans and Ben Shapiro's hatred for Americans and wanting to kill Americans, it's all out in the open. And so everyone can see it. So it's open conflict. And so when you have open conflict, now people can defend themselves. Now people can take precautions. Now people can choose which side they're on, instead of being lulled to sleep through subterfuge and obfuscation, which is what this Jewish Republican movement has been the entire time. It's been obfuscation. Actually, since before the founding of America, it's been obfuscation. When they were running the sugar business down in the Caribbean. So anyway, here's a little more of Ben Shapiro.
That is a path to defeat and a path to moral oblivion. I reject it because of
moral oblivion. It's funny listening to the world's biggest genocidal maniacs talk about morality. The biggest genocidal maniacs talking about morality. And Ben Shapiro, when you think about morality on, like, for instance, sexual morality, these same people in the conservative Jewish movement are all friends with people like Dave Rubin that traffics babies and buys babies, and they're friends. That's his friend, Dave Rubin. That's his friend. Like Dennis Prager. Dennis Prager is Dave Rubin's the babies the homosexual Dave Rubin, right? Imagine this. You got homosexuals buying babies out of a woman's womb. Dennis Prager is their godfather. You see what I mean? Anyway, let's listen to some more of this.
We lose the right, we will lose to the left.
Okay, now he's saying, oh, if we, the Jewish mafia, lose the right wing of America, then we'll lose to the left. Well, here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that no one gets a vote. You don't get to vote on my future. Okay. As far as I'm concerned, I don't want to vote over the other races, and the other races don't get a vote over my race. Okay. You don't get a vote. You don't get to vote if you're African or Asian or Jewish or something. You don't get to vote on the future of the European races, as far as I'm concerned. So this whole voting thing, as far as I'm concerned, is complete bullshit. I don't care about. I think it's crap. I think there's a limited role for voting, but ultimately I think it's crap. It doesn't give you the best people, that's for sure. It gives you the whatever the system is currently, and I do vote, but people from, like, say, China who come here and then they're given citizen. Let me give you an example. Should someone from Pakistan go to Germany and then be able to vote in the German elections? Why would they? Those are the German. You see what I mean? Why would someone from some foreign country be able to go to London, England, a Pakistani go to London, England, and vote in the London elections? Those are the British people. Why would you be able to vote on their future? Why would you be able to become a police officer and rule over them? Why would you be able to become their mayor and flood your population in there and take everything over? See, that's why democracy is bullshit. It's trash. It can, I think, on a limited, some kind of limited thing where it's like, you know, between you and your people or you and your close associates, you get to vote on your future. That might make sense, but not the way it is right now. Let's listen to a little more Ben Shapiro here.
And either way, we'll lose the country.
Well, good. You know what? Lose the country. The country. I'm not concerned about the country. I'm concerned about the future of my race. That's what I'm concerned about, not the country. I'm not concerned about the country or democracy. I'm concerned about the future of my race. It has nothing to do with Jews, by the way. So anyway, that's Ben Shapiro, and this Josh Hammer guy has been calling for Nick Fuentes to be killed. Not Nick Fuentes, but he's calling for Tucker Carlson to be killed. So let's look at Nick Fuentes a little bit here. It's pretty wild. Oh yeah, neutralize Tucker. Zionists call for violence after Fuentes interview. It's so funny because most people that watch the interview with Tucker Carlson, like myself, I just thought it was an interesting talk. Like, oh look, people are having a chat. But these Jewish Republican groups, they're literally melting down. They're calling for people to be killed. Like, by people, I mean Tucker Carlson. And remember, like, if you think back to when the Palestinian Hamas versus Israel bullshit was going on, which in my opinion doesn't even belong anywhere where I live, because it has nothing to do with me. But I did say that I warned you that in Los Angeles at UCLA, where they were having protests against Jews, right? The Palestinian supporters were having protests against the Jewish groups, right? I was warning you that the Israeli Defense Forces, literally the Israeli military, was operating in California on that campus, beating people over the head and literally splitting their heads open, and then claiming that they were the victim. See, this is what they do. This is what they do. And so what I'm saying is, you don't have to support Palestinians or the cause of Palestinians to realize that these people want to kill everybody. They just want to kill. They're just bloodthirsty. It's a bloodthirsty mafia, the Jewish Republican coalition. So here they're calling for Tucker Carlson to be killed. Here's Nick Fuentes talking about it.
He still can't let it go. His ethnic pride, because that's really what this is.
Let's see. Josh Hammer is the name of this guy.
Somebody gets up and says, Judeo-Christianity isn't real. Somebody gets up and says, Israel clearly owns our government. We need to decouple. Somebody gets up and says, look, we don't want to hurt anybody. We don't hate anybody, but this is a Christian nation, not a Jewish nation. There is a Jewish nation now. If that's what you'd like, go there. Somebody gets up and says this. I don't think it's controversial. And you see the organized response from the organized Jewish community, which is to say, you're an anti-Semite, you're a Jew hater, you're reprehensible, you're a Nazi, you need to die. This is what they say to us.
That's exactly what they say. And the thing is, they've been doing this the whole time. They've been doing this the whole time. They did this to Ernst Zundel. They did this to Sylvia Stolz. They did this to Ursula Haberback. They did this to all those people. And been doing this to people in the United States. B'nai B'rith has been sponsoring radical, violent terrorist groups like the Anti-Racist Action, Antifa groups, where they've gone. Like, I remember one time there was a group of like a pro-white group, and they were like middle-aged people, right? Kind of like me. And they were having, they had a meeting, and then they went to a diner somewhere in like, somewhere in the Midwest, like maybe up near I don't know, the Dakotas or somewhere like that, Montana somewhere. I can't remember what. Anyway, the B'nai B'rith group, which sponsors the ARA, sent them into the diner and started beating people over the head with hammers and split their heads open. This is what they do. That's what I'm saying. This is what they do. This is why it's so stupid to be lectured by these people about anything. They're running, like, literally, look, Dennis Prager. That's the Jeffrey Epstein group. I mean, Alan Dershowitz goes on his show. Remember how Alan Dershowitz is one of the featured people on the Dennis PragerU. You've got all these Christians and they support PragerU, and it's run by the Epstein group. It's literally run by a network of Jewish pedophiles, mafia, that are involved in assassinations, terrorism, and by terrorism I mean like blowing up the World Trade Center, blowing up little kids, bombing places all over the world, starting like with the King David. I don't want to go into the history of it. Like they're backing ISIS and Al Qaeda in Syria. Like this is PragerU. Oh, they're trafficking little girls and they're buying babies. Like Dave Rubin buys babies, and Dennis Prager's the Godfather. See, it's all this sinister, weird shit, and they declare themselves the pinnacle of morality, as they're just a bloodthirsty, genocidal mafia that just kills with impunity. And they killed Charlie Kirk. They murdered Charlie Kirk. Obviously, the whole Charlie Kirk story doesn't even make sense at this point. Like the assassination of Charlie Kirk, total nonsense. And I don't know what the truth is, but I just know that if you get shot with a 30-06 in the neck, you don't have a head. You know what I mean? Your head flies off because it's a really big, powerful bullet. And so that whole thing, it just doesn't make sense. And we know we may not know. We don't. Also, they scrubbed the whole crime scene's been destroyed. But we might not know how they did it or how the operation took place. But we have a motive. We know that they had a motive. See, a motive is important. A motive is part of a case, right? When you're looking for, like, why did a crime happen? You look for a motive. Is that not the case? You don't look for a motive? Well, they had a motive. So anyway, yeah. So this Josh Hammer guy. Let's listen to some more of this Nick Fuentes.
And Tucker Carlson.
He says.
And he says something which I would construe in this political climate as a threat. He writes this long-winded article about anti-Semitism, Jew hatred. That's the whole article. Seething and bitching and whining about anti-Semitism, which is par for the course. I'll have the usual, please. Thank you. But what is really disturbing about the article is the way that it ends.
Let's talk about Josh Hammer.
He closes the usual screed, the usual paranoid, histrionic screed about anti-Semitism with a call for, quote, Tucker Carlson to be neutralized. To be neutralized. What does that mean exactly?
That means killed. So Josh Hammer just called for Tucker Carlson to be killed after they just killed Charlie Kirk. And the FBI, Kash Patel, doesn't do anything. He just covers it up. And it's, you know what I mean? It's just like and what happened to the Epstein files? They just covered all that up. It's the same people doing the Epstein stuff, are the same people that killed Charlie Kirk, are the same people that now want to kill Tucker Carlson. And they want to kill Marjorie Taylor Greene too. They're threatening to kill her too, a congresswoman. They're threatening to kill her. And they just keep doing it. Nobody over at Washington, D.C. wants to do anything about it because they're afraid of them. They're afraid of them. So what I'm saying is, as an out-of-power group, this tactic that we're using is working, which is to be contrary, to be uncooperative. Look, there's no reason to ever cooperate with people that want to kill you. Okay? If people want to kill you, don't cooperate. Or cooperate enough to just like squeak by, but you want to drive them into apathy. You want to make them apathetic. They've got all these grand plans of what they're going to do, but see, they need all these other people to go along with them. So if you just constantly don't go along with them and you constantly push for something else, See, then it starts to create this resistance to all their plans, and they have to work harder and harder, and they're not getting anywhere. You see, that's where you want the Jewish Republican Coalition. That's where you want the Zionist Organization of America. That's where you want this entire Jewish mafia that runs Washington, D.C. You want them apathetic. You want their plans to constantly be falling flat. See, that's victory for the group out of power. You want them calling for us all to be murdered so that people can see who they are. You see, when they're out there calling for everyone to be killed, all the Americans, literally the heritage Americans that came from Europe and have been here the whole time for hundreds of years since the Mayflower, when we're the enemy and they're saying that we need to die, that's good for us because it shows everybody. So now everybody needs to choose sides. Everybody needs to choose a side now. So this is very intriguing. It's very shocking that the Jewish Republicans are openly calling for us to be murdered. But it's ultimately a good thing that they're stating their intentions, and they're not hiding. They're not hiding behind whatever. So I don't know that I have anything else to say on the subject, but I would say just if you're out of power and you want to defeat this sinister mafia, this genocidal, bloodthirsty, child trafficking, baby buying, purchasing, homosexual perverts like Dave Rubin mafia, then you just don't cooperate and you act in a very contrary manner and you drive them into apathy where all their plans fail because they don't have the cooperation of the people around them. And so that's how you deal with them for now until we ourselves can get into a position of power.